Hey guys, Guardian Fury here. Made the video about the first part of my trip earlier, and so yeah, just trying to get back into it to explain what else happened. So when I came back through and stayed with my older sister for a couple days on the way back home, and to take a break from my eyes to just physically, I've got to be careful how much I do at once. And so she was having we ended up going over to an elder's house that's helped take care of her, an elder and his wife and his family that's helped take care of her some over the years. And I was able to have great conversation with them. I just kept it social. And I was able to thank them for being there for those years that I couldn't. And it was cool to see. It was nice to be able to express that to them. That just say thank you for taking care of my sister when I wasn't able to. And so it was nice to be able to express that gratitude. And we showed him around his shop some, and we're talking about making different stuff. And he does more metalworking. I do more woodworking, but we were talking about possibilities of combining the two, which I think is awesome. Now, not that I'm really working with him. Obviously, we're not even in the same state, but we had a good conversation, and we're able to, they were able to see someone that has left their organization that is well adjusted, that is all about love, and that will also thank them for showing love to his sister. So at the end of the day, it was positive all the way around, and it was nice from my part. It was nice to be able to just tell them thank you. And another evening, or maybe it might have been the same night later, my sister had a friend. This is my older Jehovah's Witness sister now I'm talking about. And so he had a friend come over, a friend of hers and a friend of her daughter's, and we got to talk Bible quite a bit, and I got to share with them the stuff about Second John, the research I did into Second John, and how you can't use that as applied to disfellowshipping and shunning. And I went into all the details of it. We also I was able to share with them the Greek word airo, A-I-R-O, and what that word means in the parable where Jesus was talking about the vine and lifting someone up, not cutting them off. There would be pruning for some, but there would also be a lifting up. And we were able to talk about tying in all the different scriptures, and I was able to share a lot of my life with this lady that was there. And I tell you what, we had an amazing conversation biblically. And everything that I was bringing up, I was very happy to see. My sister had her Greek interlinear open and was double checking what I was saying, which she should. Everyone should. You never should take a man's word for it. And that's, and it was cool that my nieces were there too and paying attention to the conversation. Hopefully they're seeing some simple truth and how simple the truth really is, how simple Jesus really is, right? So I was able to do that, and in one of the afternoons when I was there, we were in a grocery store getting some stuff, and this lady calls out, "Stacy!" And we turn around, and Stacy goes up to her, gives her a big hug. They talk for a few minutes, and me being me, I'm just evaluating, just paying attention to what's happening. And after they walked away, and she introduced me to her and everything, which was cool. And turns out it was a faded Jehovah's Witness. And I kind of felt a little bit bad afterwards, but it wasn't like I exposed anything that wasn't outwardly seen. Although my sister had noticed it. The first thing I asked when we walked away from each other was, "That lady's not a Jehovah's Witness, right?" And she's like, "Oh, well, she hasn't been active in many years, in a few years or something like that." And so I said, "Well, it's not really possible that she's a Jehovah's Witness because she's wearing a cross. And my sister said, "Oh, I didn't notice that." So yeah, that was interesting. So, and she said that sometimes this lady used to talk negative of the organization, and that she just tries to steer the conversation away from that stuff now because she's not interested in a negative. But it goes to show, all it did for me was, it was an example in my sister's life of someone that faded, someone that found out the truth about the truth. And when you find that stuff out, how do you contain it? How do you not try to share it? But then again, how you approach it makes a big difference, but also the other person has to be ready to hear it. And that's the key. And so then I said, "Well, but you're still talking to her. You just talk with her and you're not shunning her." But I said, "Now, given my life, you, according to Watchtower, should be shunning me. Like, I've done far worse, according to your organization, than that lady's done. And you talk to her. Why do you still talk to me?" And that's something that it's difficult for. And the reason I ask is, obviously I wanted to talk to me, but the reason I ask is just to try to get the wheels turning a little bit. Why is that? Fundamentally, why do you choose to follow the guidance sometimes and not other times? And it's, yeah, it doesn't add up to. It doesn't make sense in the Jehovah's Witness perspective, I guess. So anyway, all said and done, I was able to. I did bring up Toni Morris to my sister too, and so that was. No, I'd only brought up part of it to her. I didn't even bring up the drinking thing, I don't think, yet, or the buying all the scotch. So anyway, I'll because it really is a moot point. But anyway, I stuck mostly just with having a relationship with my sister and simple Bible truth stuff, nothing deep. I didn't attack the organization at all, but it was all love, and it was cool. One of my nieces might be coming to stay with me for a week this summer. That would be awesome. Like, I would be all about that. And it's just cool to be able to start getting to know them, as I said before. So, made it back home, and pretty worn out from the trip. And I'm sure there's plenty of stuff I've left out. I definitely was procrastinating on making videos. Part of it also was to mull over a lot of what happened and try to see it outside of just my own perspective, I guess, and how to share it and what to say. And it was a great trip to be able to just share simple Bible truth and stuff that they'll realize if they on the surface and just at a glance, it doesn't mess with their theology unless a Jehovah's Witness examines the scriptures and examines what I shared, simply shared, without attack. If they truly examine what I shared, it's going to butt up against Jehovah's Witness man-made theology all day, every day. So that's the approach I took, all love, not an attack, just simple Bible truth. And if simple Bible truth conflicts with your man-made organization, then which one are you going to take? Which one are you going to put more stock in? So I also ended up a number of times over the last couple of years, my older sister has brought up an elder that was in the congregation that I was in when I left at 16. And she's mentioned him to me a number of times over the past few years and said that, "Oh, Earl would love to talk to you." And so she said it again this time, and my curiosity was piqued because of some of the stuff she said about him. And so I did end up calling him, and I have to admit I was a little bit shocked by his approach and by what he said. He thanked me for my service in the military, and he said that he has known through his work a number of retired or ex-military guys in his area, and to see the love that exists between them and the brotherhood that is there, he stated to me that that is something valuable and from God, and that if more segments of society could have that love, that this world would be a lot better off. And he thanked me for being willing to sacrifice myself, or to put my life on the back burner, and to fight for other people. So that in and of itself was shocking. Now he's still an elder, and he's, I don't know, he's probably 10, 15 years older than me, I guess. And he's on the hospital liaison committee, though, so he's obviously still indoctrinated. Yet he also is expressing beliefs that are contrary to the organizational standings on some things. So it's like a balancing act of trying to be reasonable, yet still being stuck in it. It was an interesting conversation, and he, I told him about me telling the elders down here that I'm an apostate, and he just started laughing when I said that, because he knew who I was as a kid, as a young man, and then he's heard about me through my sister, because my sister stays in contact with them, and she still sees them and stays with them when she goes to Maine, and so it was funny to hear him laughing about the situations that have happened down here for me, talking with the local Jehovah's Witnesses, because he understood exactly what I meant by all the things I said and told him. He would just laugh about stuff, and so it's fascinating to me that this guy seemed much more well-adjusted than most Jehovah's Witnesses, but at the same time he's fully stuck in the cult still. And I don't think you could be physically in, mentally out, and be on the hospital liaison committee. Now, I could very well be wrong. I don't know how he conducts himself. So my assumption is that he is still physically and mentally in. But he actually seems like someone that has a bit more of a balance than a lot of the average Jehovah's Witnesses I've talked to. Like, he doesn't agree with the Watchtower headquarters on some things. I don't know how often he would admit that to people, but it was pretty obvious in speaking with him. So, and I talked to him once I got back here in Virginia too. So, and anyway, another kind of crazy thing that finally happened for me is that I've been fighting with the VA for the past 8-9 years about my disability stuff, and the week I got back, I guess about a week after I got back, the VA disability stuff finally got fixed. So it's been something I've been fighting for 8-9 years. A year and a half ago, might have been 2 years ago now, I had to go to D.C. to testify in a formal hearing about the disability stuff. And it still took 2 more years after that for them to fix it. But thankfully, finally, it is fixed. So that's a huge weight off my shoulders and a huge worry that's gone now. Now that the VA has my rating right, has my pay fixed, it's where it's supposed to be. And so that's a huge relief. I just realized I'm rocking in this chair, so if that's driving you nuts, I apologize. I've probably been doing it the whole video without realizing it. But, the words can't describe how much of a relief it is to finally have that stuff fixed. And I mean, it sucks that it takes so long, but I'm glad it finally did. And yeah, I mean that helps take care of me. It helps take care of my kids. Because now one of the benefits in Virginia for that is that my kids will now be able to go to a state college for free. They'll get a 4-year degree for free because of my disability rating. And so that's pretty huge, and that's just one small benefit. There's a lot of benefits that come into play now that everything's fixed and is documented the way it's supposed to be. I mean, my original VA claim that got sent back to me, the findings they had in it, some of it wasn't even me. They had cut and pasted it from someone else's claim to try to save time or whatever, for whatever reason. And they had cut and pasted into my claim stuff from someone else's claim. Like, you could read through it, and all of a sudden you're like, who are they talking about? That's not me. And granted, it took them 8 years to fix it, but at least it's fixed. And so my heart goes out to other people in my situation, because it sucks, but it's so nice when it's finally fixed. And yeah. Well, I'm sure that I'm leaving a lot of stuff out. I'll have to kind of mull some other stuff over. Oh, here's the other thing is the younger elder in my area is still talking to me and still doing a Bible study with me now. And they tried to get me to go to the memorial. I said no. And I approached it. I said, I don't think you want me to go. There's a couple reasons, and one of the reasons, I'm pretty sure you don't want me to be there, because I couldn't be there and not partake. The Bible is very clear on this, and so he understood that part of it. I said, and because I know how the gossip, the rumor mill works, and I told him, I've already experienced it here. You've already experienced the rumors that go around and people saying stuff that's not true, and I'm not even one of you, right? And so they tried to, he was trying to get me to go to the memorial, and I was like, we both know the eyebrows going to be raised, people are going to take offense, and there's going to be all kinds of gossip going around, because if I come there, I'm partaking, period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I said, but one of the bigger reasons I have is, and I don't think you want to know about it, and I can just leave it at that, or you can ask me, like, it's up to you. So he did end up asking me, and so I told him about a black mass and explained that to him. And, of course, he's like, oh, well, that's not us. I said, well, you say that, but how do I know? Like, you're the black mass looks like a black mass. It feels like a black mass. And if you look at the roots and Masonic roots and ties that your organization has, you're going to find black masses there also. And so so he actually did ask, and so I told him, but I didn't push it hard. I was just sharing a little bit. And I've stayed pretty backed off with him. Just partly just not having the energy, partly just being super busy. It's been crazy since I got back. Been a lot going on. And I guess we're meeting again on Thursday. So apparently I haven't scared the dude off. He's still trying to study with me. So we'll see what happens. And I'm trying to keep things a little simpler, a little nicer. And it was obvious this past Thursday when I met with him. He even made the comment that it was different this time. And I said, yeah, I know. I'm behaving myself. I'm holding my tongue. And he said a couple times, I was sure you were going to say something. And I was like, yeah, I know, but I held my tongue. And because even he could see that there was an issue with something. And he was like, oh, here we go. But at the end of the day, it wasn't something that really mattered theologically. It would have been, and to get into it would have been too much meat and no milk. And so I'm trying to find that balance, and not trying to have an argument just for an argument, right? That's never my intent, although I can see how sometimes it could be taken that way. So I'll keep you guys posted. I've probably got some more information I need to put out there. And anyway, yeah, that's Will. Y'all take it easy.